And right here, all new tonight at 6, coverage from the courtroom of the emotional sentencing today. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt. Karson Reitz pulled out his gun and shot and killed 2 men sitting inside a crowded Roosters restaurant. Today, he gets a prison sentence of 17 years. Reitz is the man responsible for the deadly shooting inside the Roosters in Okolona. He was found guilty last December for the shooting that happened in December of 2021, not far from Christmas. 2 men, Michael Miller and Bradley Cross, were shot and killed by Reitz. The jury late last year recommended 17 years in prison for Reitz after his trial ended. WHAS 11's Alexandra Goldberg was in the courtroom today. And Alexandra, you heard from everybody, including Karson Reitz, who talked in the courtroom. Judge pretty much followed what the jury wanted.
Right, Doug. It was an emotional courtroom, including Reitz himself. That he addressed the victims' families, but the judge's sentence remained consistent with what the jury recommended in December. That's 17 years.
It pains me that because of my actions that he is no longer here. And I know that I may never be forgiven for what happened that night. But I just pray that you may have some mercy on me in this court.
Karson Reitz was sentenced to 17 years in prison after being found guilty on 2 counts of manslaughter and 1 count of wanton endangerment for killing 2 men inside a crowded Roosters in Okolona just before Christmas Eve in December 2021.
I would just ask the court to follow the jury recommendation and impose the 17-year sentence in this case.
The moment Reitz was sentenced,
I don't doubt that Mr. Reitz is remorseful. I don't doubt that he feels guilt and regret here. I do believe that's genuine.
Circuit Court Judge Sarah Clay.
It was not an expressly intentional set of events, set of crimes. However, I will not change the jury's sentence. I think 17 years is an appropriate sentence in this case.
The victims are Michael Miller and Bradley Cross. Their families here in the emotional courtroom.
I just want to say to the Cross family that I have not heard one bad thing about Mr. Bradley.
You never will.
Cross's daughter.
I will never have him to walk me down the aisle one day, and he won't be there when I buy my first house. My mom will never get her husband back.
And his wife.
On December 23rd, 2021, we were all already given a life sentence. My husband suffered death, and not for any crime, because he tried to help.
Reitz attorney Steve Romines.
The worst moment in time in a chaotic situation is not the full measure of who Karson Reitz is, and it doesn't indicate the fact that he's a danger to the community or a risk to reoffend.
His sister-in-law, Faye Marshall, addressing reporters after the sentencing.
The sentence he got is sending a message to our community that you can go into a crowded restaurant with children and families and shoot and kill 2 people, 1 an innocent bystander, and you get a slap on the wrist.
Love you, buddy. Thank you all.
Thank you. Reitz escorted out of the courtroom on the way to serve his time.
The judge said the Department of Corrections will determine his chance for parole. She added that the jury recommends Reitz serves 85% of his sentence. Live in the studio, Alexandra Goldberg, WHAS 11 on your side, Doug.